My wife's divorced friends convinced her to fake an affair prank to test me and make me more attentive. I filed for divorce instead. Sarah and I had been married 8 years. Things were good. Not honeymoon phase good, but comfortable married couple good. Then, about 6 weeks ago, she started acting different. Working late constantly, coming home with guilty looks, getting secretive with her phone, taking calls in other rooms. She started dressing nicer for work, wearing perfume she never wore before, mentioning this new co-worker Jake, how funny he was, how he drove a motorcycle, how he was recently divorced. Too many personal details for just a co-worker. One night, she came home at midnight claiming she was out with the girls, but she smelled like men's cologne, and her lipstick was smudged. When I asked about it, she couldn't look me in the eye. I tried talking to her about how distant she'd been acting. She brushed me off, said I was being paranoid, that she just needed space. But the more space I gave her, the worse it got. The breaking point came when she said she was having dinner with her sister. I ran into her sister at the grocery store. She had no idea about any dinner plans. When I confronted Sarah that night, she got upset and started crying, asking how I could think she was cheating. But she couldn't explain where she'd actually been. I didn't sleep that night. I started researching divorce lawyers, preparing myself for the worst. I spent weeks losing weight, losing sleep, walking around in constant anxiety, thinking my marriage was falling apart. Then, last Tuesday, everything changed. Sarah's friend Lisa called me completely drunk, rambling about how proud she was that Sarah finally took their advice to make me jealous, and how it was working so well because I was finally paying attention to Sarah again. I had no idea what she was talking about, so I asked her to explain. That's when it all came out. Sarah and her divorced friends, Lisa, Monica, and Jennifer, had been planning this whole fake affair thing for months as a way to make me more attentive and romantic. They'd convinced Sarah that the best way to get a man to appreciate what he has is to make him think he might lose it. Lisa told me they'd helped Sarah come up with all the details about Jake, who was a real coworker Sarah had never even spoken to beyond basic work stuff. They'd been coaching her on how to act suspicious to make me think she was cheating. They thought it was hilarious their plan was working. I sat there for an hour, processing what I'd just heard. First relieved she wasn't actually cheating, then confused. Why would someone do this? Then angrier than I've ever been in my life because my wife had been torturing me for weeks on purpose. When Sarah got home, I told her Lisa had called and spilled everything. Her face went white. She started crying and apologizing, saying it was just a silly joke that went too far. Pretending to cheat on your husband isn't a joke, I said. It's emotional abuse. She tried explaining how her friends convinced her our marriage was getting stale, that I was taking her for granted, that she just wanted me to show more attention. The plan had worked. I had been more affectionate because I thought I was losing her. I told her what she'd done was sick and manipulative, that instead of just talking to me about feeling unappreciated, she chose to make me think she was having an affair and watch me suffer for weeks. I later found out they'd planned for this to go on for 2 or 3 months with different escalation phases. Phase 1 was being distant. Phase 2 was fake texts and working late. Phase 3 was supposed to be staying out late with obvious signs she'd been with someone else. Phase 4 was disappearing for entire nights. Thank God Lisa got drunk and ruined their plan before phases 3 and 4. They'd even been documenting the whole thing in a group chat called Project Wake Up Call, sharing updates about how I was reacting and celebrating each time their plan made me more anxious. I moved to my brother's house and filed for divorce. Sarah completely lost it, begging me not to leave. She called both our parents to convince me to change my mind. Everyone said divorce was too extreme, that we should go to counseling. Her friends Lisa and Monica actually called to tell me I was being too sensitive, that it was just a harmless prank. I told them if they thought what they did was harmless, they were even more messed up than I thought. The divorce was finalized yesterday.